spot on with his placements of those projectiles. So let's see if he's able to hold onto that as we get later and later into the bracket. Going up against Shadic, who is going to be staying with the Corrin, the only character that I know him to be playing. And YoseFu will, of course, have the sign of Belmont. I think that, as we've been discussing, he's going to be the one in the driver's seat here. But right off the bat, showing that he is not uncomfortable to scrap.
And sometimes you gotta be like that. If your opponent gets way too close in the face, now of course, I feel like both of these characters kind of benefit from that mid-range. So Corrin a little bit closer mid, and YoseFu with Belmont a little bit more mid or far mid, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But when they get real up close, neither one's comfortable. You just gotta hit something to get something away.
And I think that might be part of the game plan there for YoseFu, where he says, okay, I'm going to go into this and put into Shadic's mind that I have pressure that I can apply, and you better not just be looking at my projectiles, because the whip is here too.
Oh, and the whip definitely plunged. It's just there out punished you for trying to counter the cross with the projectile.
Once again, perfectly placed right on the ledge as always. But that time, Shadic able to take advantage of that get-up invincibility. He's finally able to fight a little bit on stage up close against YoseFu. Does not get that much damage out of the openings that he was given.
Holy water in Corrin's hands, but only gets a jab off. We're not going to do something crazy.
Plenty of damage. Woo!
That back air covers a lot of that range, the way that Shadic set it up. Not really a lot of places that YoseFu can go. Great cover.
Wow, and this is what we're talking about, right? If Corrin gets that one hit, you're in for a world of pain, 54%. Now, we'll be stuck there on the ledge for probably a very long time at this percent. I'm not gonna lie.
There we go. Doesn't react to the fact that he was still in the holy water and actually dashes away with the whip, so he wasn't able to get the confirm, but 170 shadow, and it's Yeekin time. There we go. Back air is going to do it, but I'm thinking like even forward throw, catching for neutral get up, will be some damage.
Ooh, great air dodge right there. YoseFu knowing that on that down tilt, if he flies behind, DI's behind the Corrin, that up air is going to take a while to get to him. It is a very long, active move, so he's able to get out of that situation, but 100%. Well, Shadic gets a little bit too aggressive off stage, and that does open up the door for YoseFu to shut it.
It is amazing that he was able to make that recovery in the first place, and now putting on some damage that he's made it back. An opportunistic player if anything else.
Yeah, he does not miss out on the opportunities that he is given. If you make a mistake, he's going to make sure that you regret it for the next 45 seconds.
It hasn't been touched in a second either, continuing to apply this lockdown here. Throws that cross the other way as a bait, is eventually able to catch Shadic on the rebound.
You fell fool to one of the classic blunders. Cross the other direction.
Pretty much.
Hey, look, Jesus is over there. Huh?
Look over there, kind of wave your hands distracted, then it comes back.
Perfect illusionist. Penn Gillette would be proud. But, you know, 131% now. This has only taken, you know, one hit from Shadic. One hit from YoseFu as well. The last hit of that holy water offstage is enough to doink Corrin into the axe.
That's insane. Yeah. Definitely took a big doink there for the axe to come through. Now sitting up on ledge again. I feel like you spawned and really were at the ledge taking 65.
That is disgusting. And he built it up so quickly too without Shadic getting an opportunity to get out.
It's kind of what you expected to see. If you're not able to get around all the projectiles,
wow,
you're just going to take hit after hit. You're going to be stuck at this ledge. Another holy water is going to have that drip.
And just how do you get off the ledge at this point? And with that forward air, 131% is where he started that stock, and it's where he ended. He put on about that much unanswered.
Man, YoseFu, I mean, again, starts off pretty even, but then YoseFu gets kind of a hold on what your movement patterns are. He's like, oh, that's where I need to place the axe. That's where I need to place the cross. Here comes the holy water again. And
here comes the pizza.
Exactly. He figures out your movement just enough so that he can push you on the ledge, and then it becomes a much more one-dimensional game.
And that's really what we saw in that last stock was, you know, Shadic had to spend the entire time trying to figure out, how do I get out of this vortex, this whirlpool of projectiles and holy water and axes and crosses and whips coming my way, everything, the whole kitchen sink getting thrown at him. And eventually, it looked like Shadic was still trying to hold forward, fade in, and get something started when in reality you can't get something started until your opponent stops. So going to Pokemon Stadium 2 here, no longer on Town and City. I definitely agree that the more flat stage is, not something that Corrin can necessarily take advantage of. I think that as the slow character, you do need the platforms to be able to maneuver. So going to Pokemon Stadium 2 here, I think that Shadic will get the opportunity to at least maneuver around the projectiles using these platforms, but not be constrained by them either.
Now, yeah, the slightly larger stage might give Shadic an opportunity to stay away from the lockdown of the projectiles, but who knows? That's a big opportunity. Take a bite out of that one.
15 seconds and the first stock is gone. Shadic says, yeah, I think I'm pretty comfortable on Pokemon Stadium 2.
Yeah, I mean, we saw almost the whole set against Seba play on this stage. You know that there's going to be a comfort level here. And I really expect with this full stock lead, the way that Shadic had been playing around those platforms before as well, definitely going to take advantage of that and not really fall victim to this projectile pressure as much.
And honestly, I like this from Shadic right now. Even though he's got the lead and he's got the ability to run away from the Belmont, he says, well, I would rather be able to stay up close and personal and continue these amazing combos that I've gotten. Looking close to getting another stock before a minute passes.
Who finds the holy water on the plateau, almost gets the double up there. Would have been something miraculous to see.
See, fade away from that holy water, barely able to stick it out, and the tipper pin to give himself some space, and in fact a ledge trap as well.
Yeah, and kind of foiling what we've seen as a very consistent setup for a tech chase there out of the Belmont, going from single hit down.
Speaking of consistent setups, man, that holy water at the ledge, what do you do about it?
And sometimes you just cry.
Yeah, that's about what I would do.
That
will not cap.
Fire's on you. Burn on the damage.
Oh,
that's gonna KO off the top.
And that was big. I think you might have had an opportunity to live that if you're YoseFu there, if you're ready to DI to the corner, but he's spending his time SDIing up, trying to get out of the chainsaw, and he's mashing a little bit too early. Shadic almost letting go of that stock a little bit too early, but barely able to hang on.
And still though, I mean, for as big of a start as we saw from Shadic, this is almost an even game. This next ledge trap could be the biggest one of the game.
Yeah, very, very close. I mean, again, one holy water setup could be enough to take the stock, and just as I speak about it, there it is, into the up smash.
Now, Shadic's definitely not going to let it go. Oh my goodness, without anything to say about it, and he answers back fast.
Shadic was on fire that whole game, whether it was from the holy water or whether it was from his own internal burning desire.
Right. Regardless, when you don't wear shoes and there's hot coals going on, it's going to be a hot one.
Hot faux show.
Yeah. But it was quick. Going through, pressuring immediately with that invincibility off the Angel platform, pushing the Belmont off stage, getting that back air to finish it all. Impressive.
So 1-1. You got the opportunity now to sort of open yourself up to a larger stage, but certainly one where you can still keep your opponent on lockdown. That's the balance that it's hard to strike as a Belmont sometimes. If you go too big, your opponent can run away from you, just totally ignore you, basically, especially, as a Corrin player. When you're that slow and you have a lead, you say, well, we did see a lot of Shadic play up close to the Belmont, but you also don't need to force an interaction at that mid-range where a stage like Smashville, for example, right? You think, oh, it's a small stage. Corrin can stay up close and it's really hard for Belmont to fight you off, right? But the reality of that stage is that most of the game will be played at mid-range. When you try and get off the ledge, it won't end up being close or long range because there is virtually no long range on Smashville.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It's just there is a ledge here and you're probably being trapped on one side or the other. So Smashville is the stage that we are going to be seeing.
It's just a very good Belmont stage as long as your opponent, does not have amazing aerial drift. I think that, a character like even Roy, even though the acceleration isn't great, or, God forbid somebody like Wolf or Wario, right, goes to Smashville on you And then as a Belmont, you have some trouble because you're basically forced into 50-50s of covering the platform or under the platform and where you want to stop your opponent to approach you from. Whereas against a slower character, you have a little bit more time to back up and set up a zone.
Yeah, definitely. And Corrin is that character you're going to get the opportunity against. We'll see if we're going to be able to make it happen. I mean, it already felt like when there was a stage the size of PS2, it would be one ledge trap on one side of the stage, and if Shadic makes it back on, it's just another ledge trap on the other side of the stage, and 2 seconds later. On a stage that is shrunken down like Smashville, we could see the same thing.
I mean, God forbid you play against like a Ridley on Smashville and you realize, oh, he throws out a neutral air and it actually covers a third of the stage.
Just the whole thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Belmonts can be the same way. You know, with the Holy Water and a cross, you have pretty much everything covered. So we'll see how YoseFu tries to cover his bases here, as this is his pick. But right off the bat, again, Shadic says, hey, small stage, I can play up close, and that means I get combos.
Ooh, tries to go for a parry, but doesn't recognize it's on the jab, so drop shield and eats a ton of damage for it. Shadic, again, the one in the driver's seat at the start of the game.
But the moment that he goes off stage for that aggressive edge guard, YoseFu gets his opportunity to set up for some damage. 30% on no combos. It's just the Corrin at the ledge, and if you're at the ledge against a Belmont, you have to accept that you're going to take some damage. Oops!
Definitely gonna happen. Launching out the cross in the Holy Water. Setting up the drip, the cross comes back, doesn't quite find the whip, but again, it's just rinse, repeat on the pressure. And it's not rinse, repeat the same thing over and over, but the way that you're cycling through, or the way that YoseFu is cycling through the resources so he's never fully out of all of them at the same time is impressive.
I mean, that's one of the things that you have to think about if you play a character like Robin, right? Where you make sure you don't run out of all of your books at one time. That's the hard part about playing the Belmonts, is making sure that you never overextend your resources and give your opponent that half second or full second of an opening, because the cross is way off stage, the Holy Fire is burning, and the Holy Water rather, and the axe is just not even in the picture. Down smash gonna get caught out by that get up attack though. Shadic again at close range. If he's playing Marshall, he's not giving YoseFu time to breathe.
Definitely not. Continuing the whip pressure, he's backing up, but runs right under the Holy Water setup, gets a grab, doesn't
Oh
KO.
my gosh!
Using the kick to get himself a little bit further off stage, still doesn't get the KO with it, falling near into the up special. Both players are trading what look like lethal blows, and neither one fighting the kill.
It's so tragic that for all that work that Shadic did right there to take the stock, he didn't find it. But that time, the aggression from YoseFu getting punished, thought he had a free opening for a kill, but it's the counter to come out.
Yeah, still gonna be searching for it, though. Look for those uppercuts when he can. Goes for
Wow!
the there, because a lot of people know they'll DI away from that down air. They think if I air dodge, I'm not gonna get comboed. And you're not gonna get comboed. But if you go for that air dodge, you're opening yourself up for a setup. That axe comes through clean.
It's one of those times where I just get so amazed and I think about how many situations YoseFu has found himself in where he's like, all right, well, if I can't do that, then maybe I have like something else on the mind that I can go to. And that axe was so perfectly placed, you wonder how many times he's seen that happen.
Yeah. Definitely seems like nothing, not unfamiliar territory.
Oh, and not unfamiliar territory there either. That's the second time today that we've seen Shadic SD in a really crucial spot where he was playing a very tight game and holding on to, you know, a hair's breadth of a lead, but now playing very far behind a Belmont. This could be the death knell of the game 2 or 3.
And again, we saw Shadic spawn and then immediately just teleport to the ledge, basically. Getting ledge drop for a 53% margin.
Dragon Fang shot is just not going to buy Shadic any kind of space. Cross is just going to control so much on that ground level.
Either covers the entire ground or the entire option of being on a flat. That's your only 2 options on Smash. Pick one.
Basically, yeah. Now Shadic, you know, trying to take advantage of the times that he does actually get YoseFu on that top platform where it's harder to use the Holy Water unless he commits to a jump. And in that case, you're Corrin with the sword and the Belmont is so deliciously above you.
Both players getting a little bit penalized there as the Dragon Fang shot trades with the...
Oh! Down air into the up B. Oh, the TI from Shadic keeps him alive, though.
That's insane that he's able to manage leaving all of these, but eventually... Low fair on the Holy Water is active. Low fair hits the shield, and then the whip just comes through. You're not gonna block all of it.
Yeah. It's amazing how good that frame data of that low fair on shield is as well. Because not only one, if your shield is too low, that'll shield poke you anyways.
Yeah.
Because it's such a precise hitbox. But on the other end as well, you know, he was able to land and get a forward tilt out before Shadic could act. And Corrin's out of shield frame data is not the best.
Right.
But it's also not all that bad either.
Yeah, it's not the worst for sure. You might expect to be able to jump out of that situation, but no, whip comes through quick.
Look at the flick of the whip. Whew. So both triplets, as we can see, banned by YoseFu here going into game 4.
Which is interesting, because normally those are pretty solid stages for the Belmonts, but like you said before, no matter how good they are for you, Corrin really does like those stages.
And I think especially we've just seen when the platforms are in play, Shadic's just been playing so well around them. I mean, even just Pokemon Stadium 2 being available for you, right? You wouldn't call that a stage that is defined by its platforms, and yet that was why Shadic was able to pull off the victory there. So taking away the options of the triplats, I think, is very smart here from YoseFu. And I think that he's just going to kind of have to mentally prepare himself for going back to Pokemon Stadium 2. Because in my mind, there's no way that Shadic picks a flat stage. We saw that has not been working out for him, in the game 1 on Town and City. And even on Smashville with that center platform, it was just too hard to get through that barrage of projectiles. And, finding that middle ground there in PS2 where you can be more flexible with your game plan really opens it up for you as the Corrin. So, yeah, we'll be going back to Pokemon Stadium 2 where he found that Game 2 victory. Now he's got to do it in Game 4 just to stay alive, because one more win for YoseFu means he goes on to loser semis.
Yeah, and, the stage size of Smashville definitely played a lot into that game. But also I feel like that unfortunate SD when they were both sitting in a pretty even position. The most important thing I think again is just going to be the pace and how well Shadic's going to be able to start it off. If we can see maybe a repeat of game 2 where you get that quick 0 to death and run with it, or just putting on the damage and not letting yourself be victim to all of the oppression of stage control that Belmonts will bring to you.
So, very tight games that we've seen played so far. Shadic has had just, again, such a small margin of error that he has to play within if he wants to even get close to the Belmont. And, that self-destruct, as you mentioned in the game 3, really sort of changed everything for him, took him out of the zone. So, he's got to be able to rebuild that house that he had in game 2. Here on Pokemon Stadium 2, the confidence should at least be there. But right off the bat, once again, it's YoseFu getting those first strikes.
And again, YoseFu just setting up camp at this ledge. Once he gets Shadic off, he knows it's party time. Setting up the axe, setting up the holy water. Here comes the cross, and rotating back and forth until he finds the lethal blow.
Oh, and the lethal blow comes out of nowhere. It's Jesus with the assist.
Yeah, coming through. So you should have left room for me.
You have to always leave room for Jesus, or else you'll get killed at 82.
Right. Room for me way deep off stage. Be cognizant.
And YoseFu, again, huge for him to have such an early lead. Good DI to not die to the fake shot, but it's Shadic also firing back with a surprise projectile. He says, hey, you still get knocked back by this if you're already stunned.
Right, and we saw that the air dodge was spent really high up already from YoseFu to try to make it back, but there was no avoiding that fake shot.
So, great by him. He's now still in this game. I would not call it that if he wasn't able to fire back with a quick stock of his own, but, one quick combo from him means that Shadic can get right back into this. But YoseFu, man, again, he's just such a momentum killer.
Definitely. I mean, we already we see it so many times that the player comes back with invincibility, even when you think you should have the advantage, and then suddenly you're at the ledge against YoseFu. But does the same work using the invincibility as well.
Shadic is just barely able to eke out of the way of some of these combos. This time, he gets caught in his own fire. Shadic able to take advantage.
Great use of the cross to fight away the Fang shot and be able to grab the ledge there.
Ooh, air dodges to catch it after the hit. Wasn't able to find an opening, though. That burst movement from YoseFu coming in really clutch.
There we go, falling out there from Shadic. Not quite
Oh my goodness!
Another one is going to do it now. Continuing with a lead in this game. Very high percent. The 142% is not where I'm comfortable. with an extra stock, but any extra stock is something I'll happily take.
Man, and after that early stock, you would think that YoseFu would start to run away with it, but Shadic able to keep it so close that he's now playing with the lead. And at 163, all it's going to take is a quick hit, but that up B is now staled. And Pokemon Stadium 2, pretty high ceilings, and Shadic's DI will not falter.
No, maybe it's a whip that we need to see to take the stock, or maybe it's a forward throw or something, but not without taking a bunch of damage first. Shadic's already put on 53 on this stock and climbing. Got the stun there, so that's a potential setup on a platform. And here we go.
Great recognition on the DI there for YoseFu as well. Shadic able to follow up on the platform as well. 92. This is looking very, very well into Shadic's favor. Game 5 could certainly be looming if YoseFu isn't able to take this stock quickly.
And again, he's putting Shadic really deep off stage. Ledge trap opportunity, but Shadic has gotten better and better at getting out of those situations. He down tilts into the Fang shot, and that is going to be reminiscent of how Shadic took the first game against Saba. In just Dragon Fang shot and get a little bit of charge on that forward smash.
You've definitely put a little hot sauce on that bad boy. And to go into game 5 in that fashion, I feel like is what Shadic needs. He needs to have the maximum amount of confidence going into game 5, and importantly, to destroy what YoseFu has built up there, because Shadic really didn't get hit all that much after that first stock got taken. He only took maybe, once he took his own stock back, maybe about 100% per stock, but still refused to die. And sending it into the game 5, getting that 2 stock, man.
I love the adjustment of banning Smashville here because I feel like that was a really strong stage for YoseFu. Definitely don't want to see that one again. And yeah, like you were saying, that the adjustments are huge on Shadic's ends where it wasn't even a huge burst of momentum at the start. It was a swing of momentum in the middle where I think Shadic really figured something out. And what I noticed is he was not getting ledge trapped half as much against YoseFu going towards that second part of the game, as he'd get launched over to the edge and then wait out a little bit extra to time himself getting up against all of the different projectiles being cycled, and eventually was able to get back through and not deal with any of the stuff that we've been seeing YoseFu apply pressure to everyone else in the bracket thus far. You know?
I feel like that's why in particular, I think that, you know, banning Smashville is so good for Shadic, is that sort of gameplay of, okay, if I can bring this back in the middle of the game, if I can make an adjustment to get a leg up, then I can really shut down. Because basically, I was talking about this earlier, right? YoseFu's game plans are based on locking down your opponent, stopping them from playing their game. That is a very difficult playstyle to maintain when you have a small margin of error, when you're against an opponent that can adapt as quickly as Shadic does. And so going to Town and City here, Shadic's not going to get as much maneuverability and room as he would like to make those adaptations. And YoseFu has got to very early on establish that Shadic's ability to play in a small space is going to have, again, small margin of error. Like we saw on Smashville, it was everything Shadic could do to keep it even in the game 3. And then after that SD, there was nothing about it. And this is the tragedy that we are talking about. Another SD from Shadic means that margin of error has thinned even more.
Yeah, you know, all I want to see in a game 5 is good Super Smash Brothers, and that's not the way I want to see it start. But, you know, that's, oh my goodness, don't get stretchered now. That's certainly a good thing to see if you're YoseFu, though. At the end of the day, we take those, right? Whatever happens, happens. If my character is on the win screen at the end of the day, it's a good win.
Yeah, he's got to be grinning like a Cheshire cat right now, having a lead like this and seeing that, all right, like I get to lock down this Corrin, because if anything, if you're down a stock against a Belmont, you do not get to control the game. But I think that we're still close enough to where if Shadic, well, after that, I don't know.
Yeah,
I was about to say, like, if he gets one stock very quickly, here's a strong move, he could bring it back.
Axe was too chunky of a hit to feel that one again.
Surprisingly, getting hit by an axe hurt.
Oh, yeah. Who would have thought?
Ooh, catching the holy water. No opportunity to follow up, though. Again, we've seen YoseFu is very good at playing catch.
Here we go. And again, we're seeing that up special is really not as good of a kill move when you've got the DI of Shadic by your side.
Oh, no, not the down smash. Forward smash certainly could have done it there, but wrong move got selected. Shadic was not close enough, so still trying to figure out how to take the stock off the Belmont. The tipper pin will not be able to do it. Phenomenal DI by YoseFu.
Yeah, and great recovery option as well, using the cross to cover yourself. No, he goes for the forward smash this time, but runs too far.
That time it was supposed to be the down smash, but Shadic got in his own head after whiffing the last one, thought he might need the forward smash for the range, and instead just mixed himself up, finally able to take this first stock, but a full clean stock lead here for YoseFu. He cannot chill, he cannot let off the gas, but he is certainly the one in advantage.
Definitely, and getting pinned and immediately just uppercutting out of it. That is some wild stuff.
I feel like these are the situations where there's a difference between the good players and the great players, right? Where I feel like a good player can play well in a regular, even situation, but will get comfortable thinking, okay, I've got a lead that I can play with, I can make some mistakes, and that's how you lose a set. Whereas, you know, a great player will say, no matter what, I have to keep shifting gears, I have to keep going forward.
Definitely, and I think we're seeing YoseFu is definitely playing to win no matter what the stock count is at. He is A-okay sitting back continuing the game plan, not playing lax.
76% build up on Shadic. I think that, like, you know, Holy Water into an axe could very much almost do it at this point.
Ooh, barely avoids that Dragon Fang shot, but still falls into a setup. This time, I love the idea there. Running away after the down tilt, because we've seen so many times Shadic go for an aggressive option after getting knocked down by the first hit down tilt. But Shadic again was able to escape that. The down tilt is not as infallible as that. Again, just narrowly missing the forward smash.
And narrowly missing a KO on that counter as well. 155 is certainly the percents where the Beaumont should start going down, and he gets it on the up smash there after the Dragon Fang shot. So we are last stock, but again, Shadic's margin of error is so small. Can he get off this ledge and make this comeback happen?
We go in backing up, trying to catch the aggressive jump in from Shadic, but doesn't have the range on that whip. So Shadic does find his feet back on the ground. The ledge trap is over. Like I was saying, it is so much harder as the set goes on for YoseFu to continue to get those ledge traps.
Up until that up B, YoseFu was playing so safe. He was only throwing out very safe moves that were very low commitment. But after that up B, he's opened himself up for Shadic to get some damage on. And getting around that Holy Water is huge, but no double jump now.
Hugo does finally make his way back on, and using too many resources, YoseFu wasn't able to continue that ledge trap pressure. Oh my goodness, the downer gets him down, but he does still fall victim afterwards to the forward throw, and YoseFu ends up cleaning up that game.
Yeah, he eats that Corrin off stage and tosses himself into loser's semifinal, clutching it out in a game that ended up being very close despite the very, very early SD. But like you said, YoseFu is not the kind of player to relax when he's got a lead. He realizes that he's still got a job to do, and despite Shadic turning it up to 11, he's going to have to be satisfied with a 5th place here at the South qualifiers for Get On My Line.
It's setting up for a really interesting setup now of Belmont versus Danby's potential Pikachu, which I think would be I don't know. You and I have seen Geo versus ESAM.
Yeah, we've seen Geo versus ESAM, the
classic set that could be fit into a GIF.
It was less than a minute. It was less than a minute for sure. Yeah, Pikachu can get some early kills.
That is an interesting matchup. We might see it. We might not, or we might. Who knows if Danby's gonna be able to maneuver it the same way?
Yeah.
Or YoseFu for that matter.
Before we get there though, before we see some more YoseFu, take a look at a Red Bull replay. That's what I want to see right now, because there were certainly a few clippable moments in that match. That was certainly one of them right there.
Yeah, the doink.
The doink into the donk. As it will certainly not become to be known. But yeah, man, like, I think that eventually, yeah, you get that ledge trap cleaned up as a Belmont. Like, you only have so many ways you can get around those ledge traps before you eventually fall into one of them, because they just come up all the time, and Shadic's survivability on all those upbeats on Smashville, by the way, was so phenomenal. Wasn't enough to get him the win, but man, DI was always on point.
Yeah, definitely always had. If there was an opportunity to not die post-hit, Shadic was bringing it.
I think on one of these points we're gonna find, I think it was here in this game 4, Shadic had that. There was that early kill, and Shadic had, you know, that one really good clean comeback stock. But yeah, in the end, It was just that one forward throw by building up that solid percent. YoseFu was able to win the set. He's up in loser semifinals, as we were discussing, going to be up against Dambi. I think that next, though, we will finally get to see that winner's final set.
Yeah, it should be Grayson versus Zai. Again, Palutena versus Rob the Robot. Reverse order there. Grayson, of course, rocking Rob the Robot. Zai rocking the Palutena.